Trucks built to serve. Check in on the league's best-rated passer, if you believe in passer rating, Brock Purdy. San Francisco's OTA Shanahan said Purdy, who's only started 21 games, mind you, is ahead of where he was last year. Take a listen.
He's definitely ahead of where he was last year this time, but I mean, it was just real cool being able to go through a whole year of cut-ups. Last year he had to do it, and then it would just be frustrating for him because he couldn't really go work on it. He had to just visualize it and think about it, and had to wait for that opportunity in training camp. This year, right away, it's been awesome for him to lead us through the whole offseason.
Wow. Okay, here's how he did after not even having a full, OTAs. First in passer rating, first in yards per pass, third in touchdowns. Completion percentage was fourth. And about 270 passing yards per game, which put him fifth. Holy cow. Brou, are you willing to guarantee that Purdy will be even better this year?
Well, there's no reason not to think he's going to be great. None. And first of all, the sample size is 27 games. Okay? That's a large enough sample, including 6 playoff games. Mm-hmm. That's a large enough sample size to say this is not a fluke. All right, this guy is a good quarterback. All right, especially in that system, he's a great quarterback. So there's that. He will have a better grasp of the offense than he ever has. He'll have a better rapport with his receivers than he ever has. He's more confident than ever, having played in the Super Bowl and played fairly well. What reason will we think he won't play better? Now, the stats, the efficiency is great. I'm not saying his stats will necessarily be definitely better, but I think he'll be a better quarterback this year. He's seen it all. Going into last year, he had not, as Nick was pushing, he had not had to come back, and rally against adversity. He did that. He had not had the experience of really playing poorly in some games and people doubting him and having to bounce back from that. He had not played in a Super Bowl. Again, I don't know what reason to think a guy at his age, what is he, 24, 25, that will not improve.
Because sometimes guys have outlier years and then they regress to the mean. That's why.
An outlier year, an outlier 27 games?
It's not, well, we're not, hold on. We're talking about how he played last season, right? And the question is, does every player just go like this? And the answer to that is obviously no. But what I didn't hear in any of that was an answer. Do you think?
Yes.
You're okay. And by better, he'll have better numbers?
I think he'll be a better quarterback.
So
I don't know that their record will be better.
Okay, so he might not have better stats. The record might not be better.
He will.
But then based on what?
He will be a better quarterback.
Based on what, though? I'm asking.
Can I? Say
I think he'll have more touchdowns. I think his passer rating, which was 113, that might go a little down. Yeah. But I'm not going to say if it's 107 that he didn't have a better year. So I think some of the stats may be better, some may not be. That's what I'm saying. But I think he's going to be a better quarterback.
I think he's going to be better too. And the reason why I think he's going to be better is simple for me. In the situations where he does not have all things aligned perfectly for him, meaning Debo's not available, or Christian McCaffrey's not available, or Ayuk may not be available. If someone is not available, I don't think he plays the way he did this past season. When we saw him in those moments where we were waiting up, let's see who you really are now. I think he's going to have pulled from the confidence that you alluded to in the Super Bowl, being able to play the way he played in that game, albeit they lost. He's going to pull from that, and he'll be better in those moments. Yeah. I'm not 100% sold on the stats because he put up some pretty good numbers this year.
So I guess my real issue would be all of the reasons we would think he would be better after last season. One would have been able to make all of the exact same arguments for Jimmy, right?
Jimmy never put up numbers.
No, right, which is why it would have been easier for him to be better. No, you're right. Hold on, Brou, let me say something.
All right.
It was his first full year as a starter after looking good in his small sample at the end of last year. Then he got them to a Super Bowl. He had a good, not those numbers, but a good season. Of course, that player's just going to get better, and that was the best he ever was. That was the best he ever was. That wasn't no, it's not apples
Jimmy
and oranges.
Garoppolo was older when he started playing. This dude started playing right from jump. essentially.
Yeah, so
Jimmy Garoppolo sat on the bench for what? How many years in New England?
3 years in New England.
So he was an older, more mature player, maybe 27 years old, say 26,
Sure.
27. You don't expect a guy that age to necessarily keep improving. A guy that's 24 years old, I expect him to keep and has played from Jump Street.
But you wouldn't also have expected for Jimmy that year to be the best he ever was. And what I'm saying is, and I've been consistent on this, we'll see if I'm right, I think we will look back and say, what was the best Brock Purdy ever was? And it's going to end up being the year he was third in MVP, his team got to the Super Bowl, he was first, second, third, or fourth in all those categories. I do not think he'll ever have a season like that one. If you guys both think he'll be better, then there's never been an easier Super Bowl pick in the world. Because the Niners, they have the safety, Hufanga, coming back. Now, I understand Greenlaw, we'll see how long he takes to come back from injury, but the receivers are there. Trent Williams is there. Christian McCaffrey is there. They didn't have any of these major losses. If the belief is the quarterback will be better, the Niners, everyone said, had the best roster in football, then it's the most obvious pick I've ever seen. And I think more people agree with me. But they just don't think it's fair
They are
or
Super
right.
Bowl favorites.
They're, right.
So I don't know.
Right, but I don't.
People are saying.
Right, but I don't think Brou or Greg is going to say the Niners are winning the Super Bowl. And the only reason not to do it is because you don't fully believe in the quarterback. Maybe I'm wrong.
that's not the only reason I wouldn't do it.
Would you be shocked if they made the Super Bowl?
What? I would be surprised, yeah.
If the 49ers made the Super Bowl,
yes, after losing, I would be surprised if Brock Purdy's the only quarterback in the last 30 years, other than Tom Brady, to follow up a Super Bowl loss by returning.
But Nick, you've been surprised by his entire career, so that's not saying anything.
Well, yeah.
You have. Every single thing he's done, you've been surprised.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So
the whole world has
more
been
to
surprised by the vast majority of it, this table included. Now, at some point, people...
But at some point, people start believing.
Yeah.
There's typically drastic turnover when teams don't make it back. Like with this team, there isn't drastic turnover. You have a Greenlaw injury that hopefully you can fill that void. Mm-hmm. But Brock Purdy, like I'm saying, it's not that his numbers are going to be like, he's throwing for 4,500 yards and 50 touchdowns.
But he threw for 4,300 last year, and y'all are saying he's going to be better.
More so the touchdowns.
What I'm saying is, in moments where they need him to be better, he is going to be better. In Cleveland, when they needed him to be better, and he wasn't until the late drive that everybody talks about, he put him in position, but he was poor prior to that. In Minnesota, the same thing. I'm saying in those type of moments, when the Ducks aren't all the way aligned in perfectly symmetrical order, like he will be better because of all those experiences.
Okay. I believe in Brock. Okay, coming up next, Patrick Mahomes.
Leave Brock alone.